Hi, everyone. Welcome. Today's class is going to be kind of a feel-good flow. You can expect a lot of forward folds and also some um, front of the body opening. So think like the line from the sole of the foot through the inner legs and then through the front of the chest up to the neck. The focus is in winter, we want to target our kidneys and our bladder lines, those meridian lines, to get the energy moving. At this time of the year in traditional Chinese medicine, it's considered the kidneys and the bladder, which really control the function of water in our bodies. Um, so we're going to kind of focus on that. If you've got two blocks, please grab them. If you have a blanket or anything else you want to use, grab that as well. And we're just going to start in a hero's pose with a block in between our heels. So I bring the block on this flattest position and kind of towards the back of your mat, that you're kind of towards the back of your mat. And then bring the heels in between that block and then sit down onto the block. And sit up nice and tall. Maybe close your eyes, or if that doesn't feel accessible in this moment, just let your eyes kind of drift down towards the mat. And allow your attention to really turn inward here. In winter, we're really being asked to slow down and to allow more time with ourselves in this intimate way of being in reflection. Let's take a breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose. Exhale out through your mouth. One more time. Breathe in, fill all the way up. And exhale. And then keep your breath in and out through your nose. And try to maintain this breath in and out through the nose throughout class so that we maintain our nervous system in a place of regulation where we are calm and centered. Even in the moments of challenging poses, we can maintain breath in and out through the nose. Start to make your way forward into a tabletop position. You can move the block out of the way and then tuck your toes underneath you. Option here to take the block now in front of you. And as you sit your hips back onto your heels, lift your knees and then slide the block so that it's supporting your knees and come into a toe stretch. So you sit up nice and tall. It's just a little bit less intense than having the knees all the way on the ground. So if you feel like you want that extra sensation, you don't have to use the block, but it's a really beautiful option. And then come here for a moment and breathe in through the nose, out through the nose. If you'd like to add some shoulder rolls, breathe in as you roll the shoulders up towards the ears. And as you exhale, roll them down the back. Maybe two more times, breathing in and out. And at any point, if this feels like way too much on the feet, this is intense, you can just come into table or hands onto the ground. And then from here, bring your hands onto the ground and start to lift your knees, lift your hips, come into a forward fold at the back of your mat, but walk your feet to the outside edges of your mat. So you're like in a mini wide straddle. And then take a big breath in. As you exhale, bend just your right knee, shift your weight over towards that right leg and straighten out the left. Inhale back through center. Exhale, bend your left knee, keep the right leg straight. Shift the weight over the left foot. And just keep doing that, breathing in through center. As you exhale, you bend your right knee, straighten the left leg. Kind of doing a little switch of side to side. Noticing what you feel here. And then keep your feet nice and wide. Start to walk your hands forward. So you come into a wide-legged downward facing dog. So your heels will lift. And once you feel like you're in a pretty good position, really press into your hands, like you're reaching your hips all the way back behind you. And then inhale, lift the heels nice and high, bend your knees a lot. You're like in a squat down dog. And then kind of hinge forward into a high plank, keeping your feet nice and wide. Strong legs, you might have to walk your hands forward. And then take a nice big breath in here. And as you exhale, press your hips back and down dog. And then inhale, hinge forward again, but this time drop your knees. Keep the knees wide, but bring your heels together, hips to heels, child's pose. Stretch the arms out nice and long. Don't get too comfortable here though. Lift your chest, breathe in. Take your right arm, sweep it under your body and thread the needle. And you could always take a block on the lowest setting and place the side of your head on the block and thread the needle. Take about 3 rounds of breath here. And after your 3rd round of breath, you'll lift the chest, reach the right arm forward and just switch sides. So take the left arm under you, left palm faces up as you thread it to the right. Your forehead can come to the ground, or you could lie the side of your head down. And I'm really enjoying the block here. For just some extra support, it can feel really intense for me to bring my chest all the way down. So really take what you need here. Take a big breath in and exhale. And then go ahead and release. If you have the block, again, just move it aside. And then hinge forward into tabletop. So come onto your hands and knees. Breathe in, find cow pose. Draw your tailbone up, belly reaches down, chin lifts last. As you exhale, tuck the tailbone, round your spine, and tuck the chin. 2 more rounds like that. Breathe in for cow. Breathe out for cat. Try to really accentuate these movements so that you're really feeling the movement of the whole spine from the crown of your head all the way down to your tailbone. And see if you can move from the tailbone first and then feel the undulation all the way to the head. Let's find a neutral spine. Straighten out your right leg, so come onto the ball of the right foot, and then lift your right foot up to about hip height. And then bend your right knee, and then start to make some big hip circles. So you can imagine that you're drawing a circle with your right knee. And once you've gone in one direction a couple times, reverse directions. Make some big circular motions. Try not to back bend the whole time. Try to keep your core somewhat engaged. And then let your right foot reach up towards the ceiling. Keep the knee bent. You do some little baby pulses here. And while you're pulsing here, round your back as best you can. So tuck the chin, press into your hands. Keep pulsing that right foot up to the sky. Imagine that you could tuck your tailbone even right here. Take the back bend completely out for 3, 2, 1. Step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Find your blocks. Bring your blocks on either side of that right foot. Sink the hips, lift the chest, breathe in. Exhale, hinge back in your hips. Flex your right foot. Keep a bend in your right knee. No locking out that knee. A little bend there. And then dig your right heel down into the earth. Inhale to shift forward and find a lunge. Exhale, back into half splits. One more time, just like that. Exhale for half splits. And then plant your right foot, tuck your back toes, and lift the back knee off the ground. Keep your left hand on the ground or the block. Twist your right hand up towards the sky. A big breath in. As you exhale, reach the right arm all the way towards the left behind the left elbow, like thread the needle. 2 more times. Breathe in, right hand goes up, you twist the heart to the right. Exhale, thread the needle, twist it to the left. Last one here, breathe in. Exhale, thread it through. And then from here, plant your right palm down, spin your left heel down, walk into a wide-legged forward fold, but bend your left knee, straighten the right leg. Hold down the center and breathe. Big breath out. Come all the way back to the front of your mat to a low lunge, forward fold. Separate your feet at least hip width distance. Bend your knees, tuck your tailbone underneath you, almost like you're in a chair pose. Breathe in. As you exhale, come all the way to standing. Inhale, circle, sweep the arms out and up. Hands to heart center. Bend your knees. Sit down low into chair. Reach your hands just out in front of you and shoulder height. Hold here. Take a breath in. Sit the hips a little bit deeper. If you look down, you should maybe be able to see your toes. Take one more breath in. Breath out. Inhale, hands up high. Stand up tall. Squeeze the glutes as you find a little back bend. Bend the elbows. Inhale, reach up. Forward fold, let it go. Halfway lift, breathe in. Step back, right foot back, left foot back, high plank pose. From high plank, lower down to the left forearm. Lower down to the right forearm. Palms face down. And now you're in a forearm plank. You can always release your knees if that feels better for you. Try to keep a tucked tail. And then press down into your forearms. And imagine, without actually moving your hands, try to imagine dragging the hands back so that the heart moves forward. Hold right here. Take a big breath in. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Lower the knees. Lower the hips. Find sphinx. The heart pulls through. Maybe scooch the elbows a little further forward. Just chill here. Relax your face, relax your neck. Come back to the breath if you lost it. And then start to stack the hands on one another. Let your elbows go wide and bring your forehead down to your hips. And then keep your left leg on the ground, but lift your right foot. And imagine someone's pulling your right toes to the back of your mat. Really stretch it back. And then release the right foot down. And do that on the other side. Lift the left leg. And imagine someone pulling your left toes all the way back. Sit down. Find a child's pose. Let your knees go wide, hips to heels. Press your hips all the way back. And then find your way into a tabletop for a moment. Hands and knees position. Tuck the toes underneath you. Sit the hips back onto the heels. Rise up for your second round of toe stretch. Remember the options here. You can place a block under your knees. You can bring your hands to the ground. If you're upright with me, drop the chin to the chest, roll the head to the left, and then to the right. And then side to side we go. And then we find a forward fold at the back of our mat. Lift the knees, the hips. Walk the feet to the outside edges of your mat so you're in a mini wide straddle. Take an inhale, lift, breathe in. Halfway lift. As you exhale, fold, bend your right knee, straighten your left leg. Walk your fingers out long in front of you and walk them over to the left. So your right knee is bent, your left leg straight, and your hands are like walking over towards the left side of your mat ahead of the left foot. Switch sides, so straighten the right leg, bend the left knee, walk the hands over to the right. So you should feel like a big side body stretch through your left ribs. Relax your head, almost as if you're bowing. Then come back through center, keep the feet wide, walk it out into a down dog. Make your feet wide. Press into your hands, feel a lot of length in the spine. On the inhale, lift the heels, hinge forward into a high plank. Take a nice big breath in. Exhale back into that down dog. As you come into that down dog, bend your knees a lot, like really in like a down dog wide squat. And then back into that high plank. And then back into down dog. Last one. Inhale, come forward, high plank. And then child's pose, knees go wide. Big toes touch, your heels come together, hips to heels. Come forward into a tabletop pose, hands and knees. Breathe in for cow pose. Breathe out for your cat pose. And just move through a few more rounds on your own. Really try to let yourself get lost in the movement of cat-cows. The element of winter is water. Water moves freely. What would it feel like to just kind of move your body in the flow of the water? Trying to get unstuck. In a season where we can get really stuck. The breath flowing, keep the body moving. Come into a neutral spine. Straighten out the left leg. And then lift the left foot up to hip height, bend the knee. And start to make those big hip circles. So bringing the left knee out, in, out. You might notice it feels a little unfamiliar on this side. That's okay. Now I'll have a dominant side. And then reverse the direction. Try not to be in a back bend the whole time. Try to feel into those moments where you can really come into a cat spine, flexion. And then come back through center. Lift the left foot up to hip height. And little baby pulses. Pulse the left heel like you're trying to stomp the ceiling. And then find your cat spine. So there's less movement here, right? So tuck the tailbone. Press into your hands. Think about tucking the chin. Feel your core working for you, and then really try to press that left heel up to the sky. Breathe through your nose. You've got 3, 2, last one. Step that left foot to the left hand. You can bring your hands onto blocks and really allow yourself to sink into this lunge. As you inhale, you can gaze forward, lift the heart. And as you exhale, find half splits. Move the hips back, but keep the bend in your left knee. I like to think of a rounded spine in half splits. And as you breathe in and come forward, think spinal extension, like a little back bend. As you exhale, round the spine. Last one. Breathe in and breathe out. And then come back. Plant that left foot down. Tuck your right toes. Lift the back knee off the ground. You can place your right hand on the block if you like that extra support and twist the left hand up to the sky. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, we thread it through. So the left hand goes behind the right elbow. Inhale, twist open. Exhale, reach and twist to the right. Last one. Nice big breath in. Open the heart to the left. Exhale to twist. And then release the left palm down. You can move the block. Spin the right heel down. Find a wide-legged forward fold facing the right side of your mat. But bend into that right knee. Nice big side lunge. Take a big breath in here. Exhale back to the front of your mat to a low lunge. And gaze forward, breathe in. As you exhale, forward fold. Step the right foot forward. Let your head be heavy. Make sure your feet are hip width distance. Maybe take a moment here to rock forward and back on your feet. And heel to toe. A little bend in the knees here. And then start to bend your knees a lot. Tuck the tailbone. Slowly pull yourself up to standing. And as you come all the way up to standing, let your arms relax down by your sides. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Roll them down the back. And then bend your knees. Sit your hips back and down. Reach your arms out front, shoulder height. Twist your left arm back behind you and your right arm goes forward. Your right knee will want to move forward with you to get a bigger twist. Try to move the right hip back. Bend your knees more, sit the hips lower. Sweep the left arm forward and switch sides. Reach the right arm back, left arm forward. And then come back through center. Forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. High plank, exhale. Breathe in. Forearm plank, breathe out. Lower down. Suction cup the mat with your hands. Squeeze your glutes. Squeeze, imagine that you have a block in between your thighs. Drop the knees if that feels better for you. Gaze towards the front of the mat or in between the hands. Try to round the spine just a little bit. Tuck the tailbone. Breathe. Drop the knees. Lower the hips. Release the belly. Sphinx pose. Gaze forward. Lift the chest. Maybe walk your hands a little further forward if you feel a little too much in the low back. And breathe in. And breathe out. Hands come together, elbows go wide, forehead comes down. Crocodile. You reach both arms back behind you. Palms face down on the ground. Press down through the tops of your feet and then press down through the pubic bone. Squeeze your glutes. On the breath in, just lift the heart, but keep reaching the crown of the head forward and reach the toes back behind you. Maybe you lift the feet off the ground, but keep squeezing your heels together. Take another breath in. As you exhale, you might lift the hands off the ground so everything flies. More breath. Release, find child's pose. Knees wide, hips back, arms long. Find tabletop from here, hands and knees. Tuck the toes, hips back onto the heels. Last round of your toe stretch, rise up or take the variation that feels best for you. If you're up with me, you can reach the arms up high and breathe in. Maybe bring the palms together. Maybe you look up towards your hands. Imagine squeezing your heels towards one another. Release the hands down to the ground and find a forward fold at the back of your mat. Feet are only hip width distance here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walk the hands out long. Inhale, lift the right leg high, breathe in. Bend your right knee and squeeze your right heel towards your right glute. Take a breath in. Exhale, bring it knee to nose and round your spine. Inhale, find scorpion dog. So take it back, keep the right knee bent, but open up through your hip. Take a breath in there. As you exhale, you step the right foot through. Right foot, right hip. Find your blocks. Keep the back knee lifted. Cow lunge. We bend the back knee a little. Sink the hips, gaze forward. Cat lunge. Straighten through the front leg. Lift the front heel. Lift the front toes. Bend your front knee. Keep your left hand on the block. Reach your right hand forward. Start to twist your right hand up. And then make sure your left hand is ahead of your left shoulder. Roll to the outside edge of your left foot. I know this might feel weird if you've never done this. This is horizon lunge. So you're on the outside edge of the left foot. You're twisting the chest to the right. And then start to reach your right hand back and sink the hips down. Unwind yourself. Come all the way around. Find wide-legged forward fold. Take a halfway lift. Breathe in. Turn your left toes out. Bend into that left knee. Keep the left heel sealed down. Maybe the hips come down and the right toes lift up. Skandasana. Come all the way to the front. Low lunge. Inhale, gaze forward. Standing splits. Press down into that right foot. Kick the left heel high. Take a breath in. Standing knee raise. Come all the way up to standing. Lift the left knee up to hip height. Bring the left knee out wide. Tree pose. Plant the left foot on the inside of your right leg. Take the hands to heart center. Keep the palms together, but release the pointer fingers, the middle fingers, the ring fingers. So they're spread open. And then start to reach it overhead. And notice if you're a little wobbly, that's okay. Bring the hands back through heart center. Find standing knee raise. Left knee comes up. And then fly, airplane pose. We extend the left leg back. Fly the arms back. Step back with the left foot. Drop the left knee all the way down. Take a big breath in as you reach your hands up. Cactus the arms. Hands to the ground. Half splits. Hips back. Plant your right foot down. And then turn your left toes over to face the right side of your mat. Take your right elbow on top of the right thigh and reach the left arm high. You could even reach the right arm down. You're in a supported side angle. Rise up so you're in a supported warrior two. Right toes are faced forward. Take your hands onto your hips. Straighten out that front leg. So now you're on the sole of the right foot and your right toes are facing the left side of the mat. Open the arms wide. Reach back. Take your left hand down to the ground, right hand up. And maybe you hover the left foot off the ground, left knee. Release it back down. Bring your hands down in front of you. So you're in an asymmetrical tabletop. Breathe in for cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Again, inhale for cat. And exhale for cat. And then come into a neutral spine. Tuck your left toes underneath you. Hover your left knee off the ground. So really press into your hands to find support here and step into a wide-legged fold. Come all the way around. Low lunge to the front of your mat. Step back, high plank. Forearm plank. You can interlace your hands and bring your fingers into a little fist and start to tippy toe your feet in as you lift your hips up for dolphin, or you stay in a forearm plank. Breathe. Find child's pose wherever you are. Hips to heels, arms long. And melt into the earth. Notice the quality of your thoughts. Notice if your mind is trying its best to think about how much time is left in the class, or gosh, we have to do that all on the other side. And these are very normal thoughts. This is what our human brain likes to do, it likes to figure things out. But can you be back into the present moment and back into the flow of this practice, of this time you've carved out for yourself? When you're ready, walk your hands in, rise up. We're done with toe stretches. But 5 heroes. Come onto the shins. This time, walk your hands behind you. We're going to do a little ankle stretch, which is, sometimes just as painful. So you could lift your knees off the ground and hover them, or you just keep your knees on the ground. Whatever, be really tender with your ankles. Want to listen carefully. And then release that down. Find a forward fold at the back of your mat. Feet hip width distance. Walk your hands forward, find downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg, this time 3-legged dog. Reach the left foot back and up. Bend your left knee and squeeze your left heel into your glute. Take a breath in. Exhale, knee to nose. Scorpion dog, keep the knee bent, but open the hip and try to press evenly weight through the hands. And then step your left foot through so you come into a low lunge. Find your blocks. Find cow lunge. Back knee is still lifted, but you can bend the knee and gaze forward as you inhale. And then cat lunge, straighten through the legs as best you can. Inhale, rebend the front knee. And find horizon lunge. So place your right hand ahead of the right shoulder. Sweep your left hand forward and up, and as you twist to the left, roll to the outside edge. So your right leg, you're like in a side plank. And then you can maybe sink the hips a little further down as you reach back with the left arm, or you stay lifted. Find your way all the way. Wide-legged fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Turn right toes out, bend your right knee. Keep the right heel sinking, pressing into the earth if you want to find Skandasana. And then low lunge, front of your mat. Breathe in, gaze forward. Standing splits, exhale. Standing knee raise. Bring the right knee all the way up to hip height. And then let your right knee open to the right. Find external rotation. And plant the right foot somewhere on the left leg. If it's on the inner kneecap, just be really gentle there. But maybe it's on the inside of the shin. Maybe you bring it up to the inner thigh. And your hands can come to heart center. Squeeze through your left glute and that whole standing leg and try to lift through the left toes. Press down into the inner big toe ball mound. And then whatever you want to do with your hands. But you can also bring the right toes down to the ground and just have the heel resting on the inside of the left ankle. That is also tree pose. Come back into standing knee raise. Hands at heart center, right knees lifted. Airplane pose. Extend the right leg back behind you. Fly the arms back behind you, or you take hands at heart center or hands on hips. And then gracefully, as you can, step back. Drop the right knee down. Anjaneyasana, hands reach forward and up. Big breath in. Exhale, cactus the arms. right into half splits. Hands can come down to blocks. Move your hips back. Lengthen the left leg. Hold down. Breathe in and out. Plant your left foot down again. Bend the left knee. From here, turn your right toes to face the left side of your mat. Take your left elbow on the left thigh and reach your right hand up towards the sky for supported side angle. Tuck your tailbone slightly here. And then rise up to supported warrior 2. Hands to your hips. Straighten out the left front leg. So now your left toes are facing the right side of your mat. And the left leg is straight. And then open the arms wide and reach back with your right hand until your right palm finds the mat. So you're in a supported side plank. Your option to stay here with the right knee on the ground, or you press into your right hand, shorten the right waist, and then hover the right knee off the ground. Release the right knee down. Bring the hands down in front of the right knee. So you're in an asymmetrical tabletop. And then inhale, find cow pose. I'm going to turn around. Awkward view there. Find a couple cat-cows. And I like to sometimes shift my body forward and cow in this asymmetrical, and then shift my body back, my hips back, and I'm rounding my spine. Feels really good for my body. And then find a neutral spine. Tuck your right toes, press into your hands, hover your right knee off the ground, and then a big step. Right foot steps down, wide-legged forward fold. Walk the hands out long, like downward facing dog arms. Bend your knees a little, maybe walk your feet in a little bit closer. And then imagine squeezing your feet towards each other. I want you to feel something in your inner thighs here. And then find your way back to a yoga lunge at the front of your mat. And step into a down dog. And then roll forward into a high plank. Last forearm plank here. Come down to one forearm and the other. Option to interlace your hands and find a little fist. I keep my pinky fingers not interlaced, so they're long on the mat. And then press down into your forearms. And if you want to try and find dolphin, just kind of tiptoe your feet in, lift your hips, keep pressing down into your forearm, and just let your head relax. And maybe you lift one leg up high, and then lower it, and lift the other leg high. And find child's pose. Relax. If you want, you can bring a block under the forehead and reach your hands back towards your heels. You could even bring your knees a little closer together if that feels okay. Just relaxing the shoulder heads after all that work. And breathe. Start to make your way all the way up. And if you've got those blocks, we're going to end in supported fish. So you can bring a block on, let's see, I'm trying to think of how I do this. Yeah, so I bring a block behind my head and then one for my spine in front of it. If you don't have blocks, you could take a blanket and roll it up and place it kind of behind you, behind this breastbone, so that when you lie down, there's this opening in your chest. So blocks are a great way to get a supported back bend. So supporting the thoracic spine and then letting your head come down. And if you wanted, you could also not have a block behind your head. Some folks might prefer that. And we're just countering all of the forward folds that we just did. So if you don't have any props at all, even just like lying on your back will probably feel really nice after all this folding. And then make sure your feet are wide apart and let your knees come together so that your legs are in constructive rest. And just notice how the sensations start to feel different over time. How certain places start to feel less rigid. And there might be a phase of more intensity before a release. And that could be physically in the body or mentally in our minds. And notice any grasping, any wanting of anything to be different, and recognize your humanity. It's normal. But can you soften that grip and return to the present moment? Come back to your breath. Come back to sounds. Come back to any sensation in your body. We'll come out by bringing the feet about hip width distance, separate the knees. Bring your arms down by your sides, palms down. Tuck the chin. Start to lift your head. Kind of do like a little sit up. And then move the block from under you. Move those aside. And take the blocks to the outer thighs as you find reclined butterfly. So knees open, soles of the feet together. If you don't like blocks or you don't need them, don't use them. And then let your arms come down by your sides or place your hands on your belly. Take a cleansing breath in through the nose, out through your mouth. Breathe in slowly through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. And allow yourself this time and space to just rest. If you prefer for your legs to be straight in a more traditional Shavasana, feel free to do that. But I invite you to be here until you can stand, not moving, right? Just stay here as long as possible. Rest. Winter time requires us to rest. It's how we tend our kidneys, our bladders, but also our creativity, our vitality, all of that gets reinvigorated through rest. I'm going to leave you here with my hands at heart center and from my heart to each of yours. I humbly bow. Thank you so much.